Story 1. Players kneeling for anthem met with boos before MLS game. What a shock. This comes from WABAP. Basically, have a bunch of people who went to watch a soccer game, one of the most popular sports here in America. You know, what American doesn't like a good game of soccer? It's just as American as falafel pie, I guess. So this player, I won't even name him because he's not worth naming, was sad because everyone at the game basically was booing him and his teammates for kneeling during the American United States national anthem. You can't even have support from your own fans in your own stadium. It's baffling to me. Oh, I'm so sad. Well, let's take a look. Let's go over to SF Gate and take a look at what was going on there. Basically, here's a picture of the crowd, and you see the players kneeling, and jam-packed stadium. I see two guys right here that aren't kneeling, aren't standing. And you look over here, and where there's a couple of kids over here somewhere that aren't standing up. They're kids. I'll excuse them. There's one guy here, looks like he's chewing on his fingers. So basically, you have this quote-unquote jam-packed stadium with nobody kneeling, nobody sitting. Everyone, and you look back at the picture, most of the people have their hands over their hearts. Some people that don't have their hands over their hearts for the national anthem, they're not kneeling. Now let's go over to Angel Madison Franco here on Twitter, sports reporter, and she's panning the stadium 15 minutes before everything starts. Now, if you've been to a football game or any other sport and you get into your seat 15 minutes before the game starts, you'll probably be lucky if half the stadium's full. This place is empty. And we're told that everyone is starving to get back into sports, that, everyone's just chomping at the bit to get back into stadiums. This place is dead. And you look up here, total attendance for today's game, 2,912. And I can tell you from working in minor league sports for a period of about 10 years, that's the amount of tickets that they printed and handed out. That's not paid attendance. That's not people that walked through the gate. That's tickets that they gave out. That's a dirty little secret that they won't tell you about, that they do for trying to sell advertising. So if they print out 15,000 tickets and give out 15,000 tickets, they can add that to the head count for the rest of the year and say to their advertisers, well, last year we sold out every game. Well, you really didn't, because you only had so many tickets that you gave out, and then you go back over here and most people didn't even show up. So soccer is following the lead with everybody else of burning the American flag before each game of all the other sports leagues. Great. Well, we'll let them burn with the NFL and NBA and everybody else. On to the next story. Face masks with valves, vents banned from most U.S. airlines, which is kind of interesting because it kind of puts forth the proposition that the virus is bound by the airline schedule and calendar demands and only will infect people within certain date guidelines. Let's go down here. This story was posted August 12th. American Airlines will ban the use of face masks that have exhaust valves or vents, joining almost every major airline in the U.S. with this policy. So basically, they're saying that on August 19th, remember the story came out on August 12th, that they're not going to allow the face masks with exhaust valves or vents, or if you go down further into the story, masks with lace and other weird things, weird holes. But basically, August 12th through the 18th, you can walk through a security check on American Airlines, and they'll say, well, that's okay, but come the stroke of midnight on August 19th and you have a bunch of holes in your masks, you can't go through the gate and you can't get on the airline. And if you look further down in the story, they will refuse to let you come on future airline travel if you don't comply. So that would be an interesting story to see the airline and the virus having negotiations. Excuse me, Mr. Virus. Excuse me. Can you not infect anybody until next week? I know that you see some of my passengers wearing masks with holes, but I'm giving them until next week to comply with our new mask rules. So if you do not infect anybody until the rules could start, that would be so nice. That would be so amazing. Thank you. That's not how I work, right? I just infect whatever hole I can get into. I'm not really bound by a calendar. Okay, great. Thanks for understanding. I'll post on my Instagram how super nice you are. Thanks again. Let's go on to story number 3 that has a little bit connection to the virus. A man guilty in beheading plot of blogger who organized Texas event to be released from prison. Now, this goes with the Pamela Geller story. And a little side note, this is from CBS 2111 in Dallas. Dateline Boston, CBSDFW.com/AP. It's just a mess the way the media is right now. You can't even get someone in the city where this is taking place to report on the story. A man sentenced to 15 years in prison for participating in a plot to behead a blogger on behalf of the Islamic State group will be released early because of the coronavirus pandemic. So basically what they're saying is that the coronavirus is running rampant in prison, and we can't let this poor guy stay in prison because he might catch coronavirus. But if you get released into the general public, where for normies like you and me, if we go to the grocery store, we have to, wear 12 layers of saran wrap to pick up a dozen bananas. The virus is killing everybody out there, except for released felons. Those, if you have served time, if you've been convicted of a crime and have served some sort of sentence, that you're fine. You do not have to worry about catching the coronavirus outside of the prison. If you're inside the prison, forget about it. You're dead. They will not let you stay in prison because they really want you as a prisoner to survive and thrive. So they will let you out. But if you are like me, a normie, we're confined to our homes 23 and a half hours a day unless we need to go to Walmart where the virus doesn't run free. So if you're in a prison and you're convicted of a crime, you're almost dead. If you're outside the prison and you go to Walmart, you're fine. This guy has cerebral palsy and hypertension, which will kill him if he stays in prison. But if he gets released and goes outside of prison and goes to a Walmart where everyone has to wear a mask, he'll be fine. You figure it out. If you've enjoyed this podcast, come back and I'll try and post something, at least a little bit something every day. Subscribe Stars coming soon, and the videos will just get better and better. Stay tuned.